Average Woodsman here, back with another video. So today I wanted to go over my specific urban survival kit. So as I've talked about in other videos, I live in the suburbs and I travel back and forth to work every day through the city, basically. The downtown area, over the Skyway Bridge, if you guys know where that's at. So I'm in an urban environment a huge percentage of the day. I'm not always out in the woods. Now, in my free time, I spend that out in the woods, camping, hunting, fishing, just trekking around, practicing bushcraft, doing all that fun stuff that we like to do out in the woods. But during the work week, I'm at home with my family, I'm at work, and like I said, I live in the suburbs and I travel to the city for my job. So having an urban survival kit that I can carry with me every day as I'm out and about, I think is really smart. And I've done some videos on urban bags and survival kits and stuff like that in the past, but I want to show you guys what I've been carrying for the last 2 months, the pack itself. I'll show you guys the pack itself that I've been carrying, and I honestly think that this is probably my favorite EDC style pack that I've used so far. And if you've been watching my videos for any amount of time, you guys know that I have a lot of backpacks. I've tested a lot of backpacks. None of these were sent to me. I've purchased every single one of them so I could give the most honest opinion on them. And so far, with the little bit of testing that I've done, maybe a month and a half, 2 months I've had this pack and been carrying it, it is so far probably my favorite. So let me go ahead and get into it. I will break everything down. I'll go over the pack a little bit, and then I'll show you guys how I have it set up for everyday carry. So one thing, if you're going to be in an urban environment, the whole Greyman concept I do think is a little bit overblown. It's come to the point where people tend to base everything around that for urban survival, but it does have merit. You don't want to be walking around in army fatigues or military fatigues. You have camo on and all that kind of stuff around town. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb. So dressing like everyone else, or at least a relatively normal, I like to wear these types of shirts around town. Even when I'm at work, I'm going to be wearing a polo, because I work in a warehouse slash office environment, but it's not a normal warehouse, so I'm in regular shoes. I'm wearing jeans. It's like almost like business casual. So I carry boots with me in my truck. I think that's smart for people to do. Even if you work in an office environment, you could still be prepared by having the materials and the items that you need. Like if you want to have a change of clothes, if you want to have boots and a good pair of socks in your vehicle, you can have all that kind of stuff. And you can obviously change if you have to get home, or if you have some sort of an emergency that happens where you have to travel on foot. You'll have the ability to do that. It would be a lot better than wearing dress shoes and having slacks on and a button down and all that kind of stuff, a long sleeve button down, if that's the type of environment that you work in. So dressing appropriately. These are really comfortable shirts. They're very Greyman. This is from Helicon Tex. I'll put a link to them down in the description. I really like these shirts. I wear them a lot. They're super durable and really comfortable, and they breathe really well. And as you guys know, I live in Florida, so it's hot here about 7-8 months out of the year. Anyways, the bag itself. This is the Vertex Grey Ghost. This is an EDC Greyman designed pack. It has really, really good straps that have a good amount of padding. They're very comfortable. It has a yoke system on it, so it rides really well on your shoulders. This is not a very big pack, so you're not going to be really weighing this down with a lot of gear. At least I don't. But it's nice to have really comfortable straps, because if you live really far away from your job, or if you are in an environment where you have to walk a really long distance to get to wherever you're going, if you were to get caught in an emergency, it's nice to have really, really heavy duty, nice, comfortable straps with a good yoke system that you can carry comfortably over long distances. The back is kind of very minimalistic, but that's what they were really going for with this pack, I believe. It doesn't breathe the best, but it's really comfortable along your back. It has like the sleeve back here, which is like a luggage sleeve. Also, if I remember correctly, they make armors that can ride in this, so technically if you wanted to, you could use this like that. I would never do that. Also, it does have a CCW sleeve with some hook and loop inside of there. I always carry on body. It's just the way I carry, unless I am out in the woods, and then sometimes I'll carry with my Hill People gear chest bag. I'll carry a larger pistol, but when I'm around town, I'm always carrying EDC on me. I'm carrying my pistol on me, on body. It does have a couple of pieces of MOLLE on this, but it doesn't look, this does not look like a tactical backpack, and I don't even have anything on this. It has 2 water bottle pockets, which I really like, and this material is really good for stretching it. I also have used my big Nalgene, and it fits really well in here, even with a titanium nesting cup. So I have 2 water bottles on here because it's really hot here in Florida, and if I had to travel on foot, I'm not going to have a lot of ready water sources, so I want to have water with me. I do carry the 2 water bottles that I carry. I carry the Grail, and I carry this Membrane Solutions bottle. This was actually sent to me for testing. I'll put a link to this in the description. It's excellent. It's basically very similar to a Grail, but for about a third of the price. It will filter out chemicals, viruses, along with bacteria and all that kind of stuff, just like a Grail will, which is good for an urban environment, but like I said, it's about the third of the price. And I like to carry both because I could stop at a water source and I could fill both up. I could drink whatever I need, have 2 bottles of water, and then be on the go. So I don't have to stop again. I don't have to continuously stop to fill up just 1 water bottle, especially if I'm in an area where I may have to get water from a questionable water source. I would be able to fill both of these up and then get right back on the trail. So it has a grab handle right here, which I really like. They have this on some of their other bags too, and then it has just a really heavy-duty, comfortable, thick grab handle right here. I like to have a good grab handle because when I grab my backpack in the morning, I don't put it on when I'm walking to my truck. I grab it, throw it in the passenger seat, and I'm on the way. So grab handles are really important. It does have a water bladder pocket here, so if you want to use a water bladder, I'm not a big water bladder guy, but if you are, it has that option. Here in the front, it has some organization. I have a spare magazine for my CCW. I have a flashlight. Always carry some sort of EDC flashlight with you. I like this one, and I've been testing it a lot. This was actually sent to me also for testing, and I'll put a link down in the description for this one too. So far, it's been really good. One thing I like about it is it has the ability to be used as a standard flashlight. It has this clip so I could wear it in my pocket for EDC. Also, I can attach it to the brim of my hat here, and this actually moves up and down, so I have the ability to use it like a headlamp. So I really like that so far. I have not had it very long. I've only had it for probably about 3 or 4 months. So far, it's been really good. I've been using it a lot for EDC. I have a couple Right in the Rain notepads. I'll show you guys the pencil and the Sharpie that I have in a minute. I just have some gloves here, some heavy-duty gloves, hygiene, and then some snacks. Having the ability to stay with calories, especially in an area where you're going to be doing a lot of walking, if you have to travel a long distance, is smart. These are calorie dense, a lot of protein, a lot of nutrients in those, so it can give me the ability to travel quickly. I don't have to stop, because you're not going to want to stop when you're in an emergency situation where you're trying to get to whatever location you are traveling to. You don't want to have to stop and make food, especially in an urban environment. You don't know what type of a situation you're in, whether it's permissive or non-permissive. That type of environment, you don't want to stand out. So you don't want to be out there making a fire or using some sort of a stove system. You want to be able to grab something out of your backpack, eat it on the fly, and then travel like to where you're going. You want to stay moving. So it's really important to have calorie dense foods that can keep your energy up while you're traveling. Another thing I really like of this pack is it doesn't have a bunch of pockets. It doesn't have 2 or 3 pockets down here, a pocket right here, a main. It doesn't have all that kind of stuff. I'm very simple. I'm very minimalistic. I don't like a lot of stuff in my bags. I don't like to carry a lot of gear, and I don't like to have a bunch of stuff strewn throughout my bag. I like to have it organized by me ahead of time and then just put it in my backpack. So here, this opens up. It has hook and loop here and hook and loop back here, which I really like. I have a bandana. Everyone knows how useful a bandana is. I've had this one for probably 12 or 13 years as a Spyderco bandana. I got it with a Spyderco knife that I bought years and years ago. This is really useful, especially in an urban environment, because you don't know what type of an emergency, so there may be dust, debris, all kinds of stuff like that in the air. You can put this around your face to protect yourself. I have my sniper's veil. This can be used just like a bandana or a shamag, but it's even more useful because, once again, I don't know what type of situation I'm going to be in. So having the ability to maybe conceal myself if I am in a transitional area where it goes from urban to a woodland area, I can always use this to conceal myself. I have just an extra pair of socks and underwear. Always have extras, especially if you're you're wearing boots and stuff like that, or if you're dressed in different types. You can have that extra change of clothes in your car if you want to wear jeans or have a more durable pair of pants. You can always have a change of shirt, and having extra socks just in case your feet get wet, and an extra pair of underwear is always smart to have, especially in an urban environment, but both urban and woodland. I have my compass, map cards. I also have a map that I keep in my truck of my area. It's always smart to have a map. Do not rely on electronics. Anything can happen, especially in an emergency. You could be suffering from an EMP. That could be what caused it. Now all your electronics are broken, or it could be a solar flare. Any type of emergency that could actually happen. Don't rely on electronics. Have that ability. Have that in your back pocket, but don't use it. Don't rely on it specifically. Have a map and compass and know how to use it. Obviously, my map card's here, and I have a mechanical pencil and a Sharpie. Here in this, I just have my little Maxpedition. You guys know I like the Maxpedition pouches. I think they make some of the best pouches on the market. I have a lockpick set. I've shown lockpick sets in the past. People always make comments. This is an emergency situation. Look at your local laws and restrictions, but in my state, I can carry a lockpick set. I'm not using it. It's specifically for an emergency, okay? A lockpick set, I have a Bic lighter with some tape around it, with some Gorilla Tape. I have some bank line. I have just quadruple out steel wool, just in case I need to make a fire. I do have some mini Inferno, and then I have a whistle. And also, almost forgot, I have my Exotac rip spool, just in case any of my gear gets damaged. I have the ability to repair it. And I really like having the hook and loop in here because I can just attach this right in here. I can rip it out, go through it, put it right back there, and now I have access to it. I have 2 heavy mill trash bags, the drum liners. These have a multitude of uses. Always, always, always carry heavy mill trash bags in your kits. They are so multifunctional, even in an urban environment. This could be used for additional rain gear. I could use this for sleeping. I could use this for all different types of things, for shelter. It's really useful. In an urban environment, I'm going to be around a lot more people than a woodland area. I have a medical kit here. This is extensive. I have trauma, bleeding, all that kind of stuff, and some boo-boo stuff in here too. So I have an extensive medical kit because I don't know what I'm going to come across, and if I do end up getting injured or something like that, I want to have the ability to treat myself in the short term before I'm able to get to wherever I'm going and have actual medical treatment. So down here at the bottom, I have just a rain jacket. This is, as you can see, very Greyman. This is actually my work rain jacket. I have that in here, so that gives me an additional jacket for the weather. Here I have a little bit of paracord, just in case I have to set up some type of shelter. I have this bag right here. These Dyneema bags are excellent. I have a ton of them. I have a couple chem lights. I have an additional tourniquet. I have my power bank and a cord to power my devices. I have some other stuff in here. I have some aqua tabs. These are tabs for treating water. It's a nice backup to have. An additional lighter. I have a mini crowbar. Yes, having a mini crowbar in your urban kit is smart. I'm not telling you to break into people's houses. I've talked about this in the past and I always get the same comment. I'm not telling you to break into people's buildings or houses or anything like that, but having the ability to use this in an urban situation, in an emergency, is always smart. This doesn't weigh barely anything. It doesn't take up a lot of room. I have the bits for my multi-tool that I always have on me. I have a multi-tool on me, on my person. I much prefer carrying a multi-tool over something like a pocket knife, a folding knife, or a SAK in an urban situation. It's just more useful, in my opinion. So have a good multi-tool. And this is the bits to them, the Leatherman bits. I have a small roll of duct tape here. You can never have too much duct tape. And then obviously a Silcock key. In an urban environment, a Silcock key is going to be your best bet. It's much better than trying to drink from questionable water sources. Carry this and you can access the outside water sources on buildings and things like that with this, a Silcock key. I've had this one for a long time and it's still holding up well. I have a couple of them. Keep them in your urban kits. They're smart to have. One last thing I wanted to mention too. Always carry cash with you. Carry cash in your vehicle, carry cash in your pockets, carry cash in your bag if you want to. I always carry cash either in my bag or in my vehicle. That way I have the ability to use that, because your credit cards and your debit cards and things like that, they may not actually work in an emergency. All right, so that's the bag. That's my kit. Just like all Vertex packs, they seem to be some of the better made packs, especially for the price range. They're not cheap, but they're also not $500 or $600 like some other manufacturers, and they're still really high quality. I've never had an issue with any of them. They've always held up well, so I really like them. I like to use them. Somewhere between like 12 to 25 liters is really ideal, in my opinion, for an urban style pack for EDC, where you can keep all of your gear in that pack and use it if you need to in an emergency, but you're not weighing yourself down. This whole pack weighs 11 pounds. It weighs 11 pounds with the water. So it's not very heavy. It is extremely lightweight. I'm very agile in this. I can move quickly. I can move over terrain, through areas, and I don't have to worry about this weighing me down like a big bulky pack that weighs 20 or 25, 30 pounds. I don't want that in an urban situation. First off, I don't need a lot of gear. I just need some calories, a way to stay hydrated, and a way to stay covered from the elements and the rain and stuff like that. If I were in a colder environment, you could always throw an extra backpack, extra jacket in here, or a heavier jacket, maybe something more insulated. I don't live in that type of environment. Here in Central Florida, it rarely gets below 50 degrees. Sometimes at night in the winter months, but we don't really have it's just not that type of environment. So I don't have to worry about hypothermia. I don't have to worry about being cold, but I do need to worry about staying hydrated and staying out of the elements, because we get a lot of heavy storms and it gets very hot and it's very humid here. So hyperthermia is way more common and way more of a concern for me than hypothermia and being cold and things like that. So I want to stay dry, I want to stay hydrated, and I want to stay covered, but I don't, and I want to stay mobile, but I'm not really worried about some of the other things that people up north, or if you live in other places, that you may have to worry about that with. So that's kind of the video. Remember to like, subscribe, share these videos with your friends and family. Be safe, stay dangerous, and I'll catch you on the next one.